ChatGPT is obviously on everyone's minds, and I'm curious if we have any thoughts at this point about how it might affect admissions, either already. Is it affecting your perspective already on admissions? And do you feel like you're going to change your process at all to adapt to that technology? Bruce, I'm giving Bruce the first shot. He's kind of like he's kind of nodding his head, as was
we've talked about this before. I may always make the mistake of nodding and smiling, and I think that draws. I always get the first question as a result. It is but it's interesting, and I think we've been. I've talked, internally and with others a little bit about this. There will be more and more conversation, I'm sure. The first thing people think are essays. Actually, we've run our essay some of us have run our essay question through ChatGPT to see what comes out. Does a decent job as a starting point, but there's also thinking about even like virtual interviews and the technology that exists to help on that front. We're definitely thinking about how we might need to adjust the process, or also just kind of I think there's already essays, for example. We already have some sense that's something that other people, we tell people not to have other people help you, but we know that that's not always the case. And so this is maybe more extreme example of that, of something that's already happening. So maybe we just have that in mind as we're reviewing essays, or we think about other I think we'll get to this later. We're already thinking about other prompts that we might be implementing for written responses. So I think there will be it'll be interesting to see where it goes. There will be that's a topic of conversation. I think there will be some adjusting of the applications and maybe some other sort of technologies that are used. I know there's some already some programs that you can put into to detect the use of ChatGPT in written product, and so whether people schools go to that or use other technologies to try to detect the use, we'll have to see.
Donna, see.
Yeah, I just actually led a session on ChatGPT and admissions at a conference in Philly last week. And one of the things that I learned by facilitating a conversation is that a lot of schools were approaching it to make sure that their policies and admissions, or I'll like make it personal. One of the takeaways I got from this session was the importance of going back and asking our leadership, like, what are the policies about ChatGPT in the classroom? And then what are the broader policies at the university, and the importance of aligning whatever policies we have with the school, the MBA program policies, and the broader university policies. So that is on my list of things to do. I think for applicants, one of the things that I would recommend as you do this is just to think about I find essays that are very personal, specific, give specific examples, really authentic to you, tend to be the really good ones. And responses that we've played with for ChatGPT are pretty general. As Bruce mentioned, I just learned last week at this conference that their Turnitin is going to incorporate a detection element, so they can, if a school wanted to run it through a detection, software, I guess it's going to include ChatGPT. I think there's other issues around generative AI that concern me. I have a video blog at Darden, and if anybody wants to check it out, it has lots of tips on the admissions process. But somebody in our IT department took my video blog, and then a robot that looked exactly like me. The voice was different, and I could tell side by side, but I don't think most people would be able to tell which one was me and which one was the robot. So this thing just keeps evolving in different ways. But I'm going to try to align our policies with the school policies.
Interesting. Yeah, it's a brave new world. Donna asked Donna L, anything to add?
Not that much, except sort of, I feel like my 10,000 foot response is very similar to something that Bruce mentioned, which is for a while now, we have questioned the authenticity of essays as to whether or not somebody truly wrote them on their own, regardless. And so we've always put a lot of emphasis on the face-to-face interview, which we will continue to do. Hopefully, though, it's their real face and not a robot's face. Donna, Clarke, now you're scaring me. But there's definitely a lot of conversation on this topic at the school at all levels. So it'll be interesting. We are going to stay plugged in to see what, if any, guidelines come out of that.
I feel like we have to do like a spot check to see if this is the real Donna Clarke right now. Like,
Yeah.
like what's your middle name? See if you can respond to impromptu prompts, questions. No, that thing about the bot is really crazy. Donna S, I don't know if you have anything else you want to add.
I think just that my team's having fun playing with it.
Yeah.
Looking at it, and we're just starting to fully understand what we can even do with it.
Right.
In the faculty, in the classroom, the faculty are encouraging students to explore it and use it. So where my instinct is, no, we can't, put it in the statement that all of the work is my own, including we could, I'm not using any kind of artificial intelligence, but I had to also try to think realistically. That's why I really like Donna Clarke's answer about really aligning to what the university's policy will be.
I saw. Go ahead, Bruce.
Oh, sorry to jump in, but Donna, that reminded me, that was an interesting point and a good one. I think I had a faculty member from another university I was talking about recently who said that, if you're teaching a class that can be, answered by ChatGPT, you're probably not teaching it right, and you're probably not teaching it. And I think it's sort of the same with the admissions process. To Donna's point about, making it, personal. I think if we have applications that you can submit by ChatGPT, those probably our processes probably need to be rethought. And so maybe this will spur that happening.
Yeah.
I think the other thing that's interesting on this topic, if you don't mind me jumping in again, is, it's interesting when you talk to people, because there are people who think, it's completely unethical to use it. And then I had this very interesting conversation with our director of IT at Darden, and he's like, look, there was a time when calculators in the classroom were controversial. And, we can think of how many times technology has evolved, and they're commonplace right now. And this is a new tool that should be embraced. But it's brand new, so everybody's navigating it.
My brother, I went to law school with an individual who now is a professor at the University of Toronto, at the law school, which is generally considered to be Canada's best law school. And he posted something online where he said that he had from the beginning of the year permitted his students to use ChatGPT, and he said, and the results are in. And he said that the top part of the class, he said, was no impact. He said, I guess it's just people who didn't use it because they felt like their skills were beyond that in terms of writing creativity. He said the middle part of the class, there was a very, very negligible impact. Like he's talking about in terms of overall grades and performance. He said in the bottom class, there was a significant impact. And so he felt like those who were sort of, am I reading between the lines, those who were least capable were able to benefit from the small assist. And so, maybe that just suggests that at this point, it is at a fairly basic and impersonal level that can help people. And of course, we all know it's going to get better and smarter. But if you read an excellent piece of writing, like truly something you're really, really impressed by in the New Yorker or the New York Times or something like that, it's just not even like type in. What I've done is I've tried to reverse engineer and say, okay, I've read this fantastic piece on, Indonesia sinking and them rebuilding their capital city or something like that, which I read the other day. And I'd like to get ChatGPT's thoughts. When you hold those side by side, you get over how insane it is that a machine just creates something that's readable and it is a small miracle. There's no question, even the most basic level. But then you start to realize, like, wow, the difference between this and something excellent is there's a huge chasm still. And so, anyway, my personal editorial on that one for you guys out there.